What is it that causes the mind to review or retain information? My name is Bobo Omotayo. I'm an observer. 2 years ago today, actually, I submitted the original manuscript of my first published work called London Life, Lagos Life, a collection of short Lagos life observations turned stories. About a year later, I was nominated for an award as Creative Artist of the Year. As happy as I was about the honor, I wasn't quite sure I understood why. I didn't create anything. I simply captured and documented. I simply stated the things that were obvious to all of us, sitting in traffic on Thirmaland Bridge, the gala hawker who can run a 100-meter sprint in 12 seconds for 10 naira profit. What is it that allows the mind to retain specific details? I was under the impression that observations were imperative to survival. For most of history, humans have been very good observers because we used our 5 senses. As generations have evolved, and we've all kind of adopted the big city life, close proximity has left us assessing less and viewing ourselves less. So what we do now is we interact first and assess later, which is the complete opposite of what we have done for thousands of years, which was to kind of assess at a distance before we interacted. Perhaps this is also why we've all become very sensitive to being observed. So when someone stares at you, you become very uncomfortable and you quickly move your eye away. So the question I keep asking myself after the overwhelming response to the book was, have we become observationally lazy? I ask this question because I see everyone distracted. We've become very distracted. People are driving, but they're distracted. Couples are on a date, yet they're not really connecting because they're distracted. Now, on a sinister note, the cost of being distracted is you can potentially expose yourself to danger. A New York Times bestseller author, Gavin DeBarker, wrote an interesting book actually called The Gift of Fear. And in the book, he kind of encourages us on being observant. He encourages us to listen to that inner voice in all of us, which kind of sends the signals when something is wrong. And perhaps that kind of explains why when people are being victimized or they've been taken advantage of, very often you find yourself thinking, I always had a funny feeling about that. But anyway, that's the bad news. The good news, too late to start observing. But the question is, what do we observe for? Observation is not about being judgmental, just to be clear. It's not about being good or bad. It's more about being in tune to your environment and kind of understanding what people are saying verbally and non-verbally. Observations are also good for validating and testing what others intend for us. So are they kind? Are they unselfish? Are they empathetic? Or are they the complete opposite? Because if they are, good observation can help you suss that out really quickly. So, classic example, I don't know, very often when people are young, you have a lot of friends. And then as you get older, you have fewer friends. But the friends get better. And that's just purely because you kind of weeded out the bad ones, so to speak, even though bad is a negative language. So, it took me 5 years, 7 months, and 22 days to start to really observe the mind. I watched how parents interact with their parents in gatherings. I watched how newlyweds are very uncomfortable when they throw them big, lavish Owambe parties. I also try to do things like every single time I'll park my car, I try to make a mental note of the color and the model of the car next to it, just so that you never know when you might need that information. I captured all of this and I recorded it into a book called London Life, Lagos Living. The book has been celebrated both at home and abroad. Observation. What awesome power. Thank you.